To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave para peeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Shawn Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Shawn, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. Been quiet today. So, thank you all for coming and spending an hour out of your busy days on a Friday afternoon to spend with me. And I love you all for that because I don't have a show without all of you. So let's jump right in here. Let's get the prayer urn out of the way. Barbara E. from New Mexico. Hi, Barbara. Father, my father is in the hospital, Rev, and my mother is very sick. I take care of them both. My car just got stolen. I'm worried. I'm depressed. Offer me up some prayers. Oh gosh, Barbara, I'm so sorry for your troubles. And isn't everybody depressed right now? The world is going through depression right now. So, tell you what I'll do. I'm going to offer up some prayer for you. And I'm going to ask my paranormal ministry family to, when I start these prayers, to reach forward, touch your computer screen, close your eyes, bow your head, try to add some extra positive vibe and some love and light to this prayer for Barbara. Let me find a good one here for her. Okay, good. This is a great one. Alrighty. Name the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hear us, Lord, Holy Father, Almighty and eternal God, and graciously send your love and holy angel from heaven to watch over, to cherish, to protect, to abide with, and to defend all who dwell in this house and Barbara's house. Through Christ our Lord, amen. I know you didn't ask for this, but there's two more beautiful prayers here, Barbara. I'm going to add them to this because you're having so many issues, and they're beautiful prayers for you. Jesus Christ, my God, I adore you and I thank you for the many favors you have bestowed on me this day. I offer you my sleep and all my moments of this night, and I pray you to preserve me from sin. Therefore, I place myself in your most sacred side and under the mantle of our Blessed Lady, my Mother. May the holy angels assist me and keep me in peace, and may your blessings be upon me. We beseech you, O Lord, to visit this home, Barbara's home, and to drive far away from it all the snares of the enemy. Let your holy angels dwell therein, so as to preserve us in peace, and let your blessings be always upon us. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Barbara, I will add you to the prayer list, and I will pray for you this weekend. Hang in there. And if you want to reach out to me privately, feel free to do so. Okay, thank you all for joining and helping me with that prayer for Barbara. Let's check the Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Boom. It makes me so sad when I hear of people feeling sad, so sad and depressed right now. Like the world is in depression anyway right now, but you have all those types of things snowball in your life on top of everything else. And I also want everybody to keep my co-producer Zach Clayton in your prayers. Terribly under the weather today. We almost rescheduled, but I know how many of you are anxious to see my guest today. And he's a real professional. He said, "No, let's do this." So keep Zach in your prayers today. Jimmy P. from New Jersey. I can't speak today. Jimmy P. from New Jersey says, "How can I tell if my episodes of sleep paralysis are just that or something more severe?" And Rev, hope you had a great Memorial Day. I did, Jimmy, and thank you for asking. Jimmy, your question reminds me of a joke. A guy goes to a psychiatrist and says, "Hey, doc, I keep dreaming of teepees and wigwams." The doctor says, "I know what your problem is. You're too tense." Ba-dum-bum. Thank you very much. I'll be here all day. I promise the show's going to get better as soon as my guest comes on. Don't go anywhere. All kidding aside, Jimmy, this is very serious. I deal with a lot of people that go through this. I'll keep it short and simple. If you're waking up suffering from sleep paralysis around the normal time you would normally wake up, and then it goes away, I'd go get that's probably what it is, and I would go to a doctor just for an annual checkup, a doctor or a psychiatrist, whatever you feel like doing. If you're having these episodes of sleep paralysis like between 1:30 in the morning and 4 a.m. in the morning, and they're violent, and maybe you do see what you think are entities or demons, especially if after the episode you are left with bite marks or scratch marks, absolutely get your local clergy there ASAP to do a property house blessing and cleansing, and one on you too, and talk to the local clergy there and see what they think. If you think, do some soul searching, take a long look in the mirror. If you think that's the case and you're doing anything to contribute to this, stop doing that. I love you, brother. I'll pray for you. You know what? You didn't ask for this, but I'm going to light a big candle for you today. And I'm going to keep this candle burning here during the show, and then it'll go in the room with everybody else's candle and burn until the candle's done burning out. May the Holy Spirit enter and intervene in your life, Jimmy, and stay with you on the remainder of your journey on this side of the veil and on to the next. Amen, brother. Okay. Anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz, the ministry. If you go there, remember my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So I know times are tough, brothers and sisters. Trust me, I know. But if you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send in a small donation. I promise you, it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we will put it to good use. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature, not necessarily attached to the paranormal, in addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor. There's an area there on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me about those spiritual issues if you wish to do so. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the ghost store. Cool things to buy in there, like this awesome throwback Ghost Be Gone coffee cup, hoods, t-shirts, things like that, if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down to the bottom of that page, you'll find my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, Stellium Books, my publisher. Don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to do something good for the animals too. You can get the book a little less expensive at Amazon. If you buy it off the website, I autograph it, which probably lessens the value of the book. But I autograph it and I put it in a beautiful house blessing kit and send that to you direct from my home to you. So scroll a little further down, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I am a founding member. I offer a college level online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And this course is for all you true warriors for Christ who feel a calling and a longing to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, circling the wagons, putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. If you want to know more about the course before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, or you can just call me or send me a message and we can talk about the course. All my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. So you can enroll in the course there at the website or check it out before doing so. Keep all my former, current, and future students in your prayers. Thank you very much. All right, guys. the reason why you all tuned in. I'm very excited to meet her. It's the first time meeting her. She rocks. She's very special. She's a spiritual teacher, a shaman, a healer, an author, and so much more. Has her own show too, a really cool show. Brothers and sisters, please welcome to the show the one and only Lindsay Sharman. Lindsay, are you with us?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. What a nice intro.
God bless you for being here. I know you're one of the busiest people on the planet. I sometimes just spend, I never know where my guests are going to come from. I book my own guests. So I get on, basically stalk my friends, my Facebook friends. Not because you and I know each other, but because it's just easier that way. So, uh, and I was stalking you for information and I saw you're just so cool and I just wanted to have you on. So thank you for being here. And I have another dumb joke for you. Bear with me. When you were growing up, how many times did somebody grab you and you either said it or somebody else said, "Hey, don't squeeze the Charmin"?
Countless times that happened to me.
Oh my god! I thought for sure you would be too young to get that, and
Oh
I
no.
don't even know if Charmin toilet paper is even being made anymore. But that was like everybody had Charmin toilet paper in their home because it was so squeezably soft.
Yes. Well, and I actually, the story I was told of how I was named is that my father was, having a few drinks and watching some TV. Lindsay Wagner was on The Bionic Woman, and he was like, "Oh, Lindsay's a good name." And then Charmin toilet paper commercial came on, and he was like, "I could spell that a little differently. It's actually a cool word." And now I'm Lindsay Charmin. So my last name is actually Brown. That's my first and middle name that I go by as my screen presence because there's 10 billion Lindsay Browns, but there's only one Lindsay Sharman.
There is only one Lindsay Sharman, and you're a very special person. And that is the one. I know that was you didn't expect to get asked that, but that was a great story. Oh my gosh! Leave it to dads and moms. They try to get so creative with us sometimes, and we don't even have any say so about it.
Right.
But that's a beautiful story. Tell you what we're gonna do today. As soon as I announce on Facebook and I start promoting the shows, usually I get fans and followers of the guest start sending me questions. And that's what happened here today.
Cool.
So I want to, and I'm so bad at doing this, I hardly ever get to these questions, but I'm going to stick to today because I've been getting a lot of emails, private messages on Facebook. I'm going to stop sending any questions if you don't get to them, Rev. So I'm going to get to them. First question I have here for you is someone says, "You look great for your age." That's a weird
Well,
question.
thank you.
You are a youngster, but they say anarchist shaman since December of 1905, question mark, question mark, question mark. Well, I don't know if that was a typo they saw somewhere on your profile, December of 1905, if there's a story behind that, but they want to know what an anarchist shaman is.
Well, those are two separate things. I think my Facebook profile, I mostly just threw up whatever I thought was hilarious to put because people take it so seriously, and it's just Facebook, guys. So I am an anarchist as far as that's the only political ideology that is in any way fitting of any sort of spiritual understanding as far as I'm concerned. There are no rulers. We come from this history where we've been told that God chooses our rulers for us, and the queen literally still to this day is claiming that God has given her, the right to rule. And as far as I'm concerned, the only entity that can rule me is God, and God doesn't exist in a human form. So anarchy is simply the idea that there are no human rulers over us, and that we should therefore take care of ourselves and rule ourselves and help one another to live in peaceful coexistence and abundant coexistence. And there's one law of anarchy, and it is the law of non-aggression, and it's the golden rule, basically, just restated. It's the biblical rule, just restated, in that you should not aggress upon another human, period. You should treat them as you would like to be treated. And so we don't aggress upon others. If someone aggresses upon us, we protect or defend as we may need to, just like we would spiritually. And so anarchy makes the most sense to me from a spiritual point of view, a political point of view, and a social point of view, that we would not give power to a centralized force that can be corrupted as evil likes to do, but that we would keep it for ourselves and take care of one another and ourselves as God commanded us to do.
So well said. You actually gave me goosebumps.
Oh,
Um, Very well said. You know what? I'm going to ask you if you want to comment on either one of my questions today for my guest, the one guest that's just so overwhelmed with, and believe me, for many, many years, I was going through the same thing, helping my wife battle three rare forms of cancer and
thanks.
under demonic attacks and helping people with their cases. I mean, there were times where I almost left the field because I just felt so overwhelmed. I feel for this woman being so overwhelmed and so depressed, and you know, I read between the lines there on the "I am so depressed" that maybe there's something more going on there, and I know I don't even want to say the word, the big S word, but a lot of people are giving up nowadays. And then we have the other gentleman who's thinks he's so I don't know. Hopefully he reaches out to me and tells me if it's just mourning paralysis or if he's having, like what seems to be visitations from an entity in the middle of the night. Um, but even these types of things can be brought on by as crazy as the world is right now. And I know you're a healer. You are a practitioner of shamanic practices. Um, I'll warn you about this. I've had a couple of beautiful, beautiful guests on my shows that got a little bit too crazy with, you know, I guess their political views. And YouTube, God bless them, thank you, YouTube. I'm not complaining, but they took those shows down.
Yeah, I won't
I
mention
don't
anything
I
that
don't
YouTube
want them
doesn't
to
like.
take their. I'm so excited to have you here. I don't want them to do that to your episode, but I want you to see if you want to, as being a healer, with this the way the world is now today, and with the problems these people have reached out to me for. If there's anything, and anybody else that's watching that are having issues, any advice on that you are feeling you want to bestow on anybody that's just about to either jump into the deep end without the floaties on and they can't swim, or just giving up.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I would like to invite everyone right now to forgive yourself of everything. God forgave you before you ever did anything. God will forgive you forever. God has nothing but love for you. Our allies, Jesus being a great one, uh, they also love you, forgive you infinitely. There's nothing you could ever do wrong. So if you have anything that's just holding over you that you feel guilty about or bad about, or like you didn't do enough, or like there isn't anything you can do, or whatever, just please forgive yourself. And please love yourself enough to then also reach out to those spiritual allies. And for me, there's infinite. They come from all religions and all places and all traditions, and they're of the light, and they love completely and fully, and they can help you. And if you are in a certain tradition or specific tradition, call on those from that tradition. They're also there to help and willing and ready. And I think people forget sometimes, and they think like, oh, well, Jesus is like pretty important. It's a pretty big deal. Like he probably doesn't have time for my little, whatever is going on in my life. It's exactly the opposite. When we see people call in the darkness, sometimes some of us accidentally from time to time, and the force with which the darkness comes in when you invite it, and that's easier for us to see and latch onto for some reason, but the good does exactly the same. It also needs the invitation. It also is waiting there for you to ask. There's nothing too small to ask for help with. Ask Jesus for help in getting your car back. Ask God for help in feeling better, in having more motivation, or in having that, even just the understanding in your heart that you are loved and that you are precious. Ask for that. Reach out, and you can do it in the form of a prayer. There's no difference between that or just saying it inside of your head of like, hey God, are you there? Can you please help me? 100% of the time you are reached back towards and you are held in love. And that's my advice and suggestion to anybody, whether you feel like you're struggling or not, is forgive yourself and love yourself enough and know you're worthy enough for love to reach back to you when you ask it.
I knew I was going to love you. um, that was so well said. Wow. um, Shaman, I learned the hard way working a couple of cases that I was blessed enough to be invited out onto two local nearby Indian reservations here to work some cases that their holy people were having issues with. Here I am, not even looking at the questions anymore. So, but I want to talk to you about this. And I learned the hard way by referring to one of the holy men that I spoke with. I called him a shaman, and he said, "I'm not a shaman. I am. You can call me either a tribal elder or a tribal holy person, but I'm not a shaman." And then I have a shaman friend who actually sends me of all the many different types of salt that I use and I bless and I blend. Himalayan pink salt is one of them, and he happens to be a shaman that sends me that. I am not very familiar with the shamanic practices. They're probably not too different from what I do many times with people when I lay hands on them or help them or try to heal them from their issues they're going through when I go and visit them. Talk to me about your um, awakening into this journey, becoming a shaman and a healer, and what being a shaman means to you versus like what's the difference between a shaman and a holy person and things like that.
Yeah, they're great questions. When it comes down to it, I hate all of those words. None of them matter at all. And they're just titles that we adopt, and that makes it easier for other people to understand what we might be able to help them with. And that's the only thing I like about them is that, that it confers some sort of meaning in that way, I guess. But otherwise, it's just confusing for people. And it's also got all of these connotations and attachments to various cultural understandings, especially, shaman is specifically a Native American or at the very least indigenous term for a holy person who can travel back and forth beyond what we might call the veil, right? And bring information and bring energy and bring beings or entities back and forth across that divide. That's kind of the most like universal understanding of what a shaman is. People often look at me and they think that I'm white, and I do look pretty white. And so then they're maybe upset that the title shaman has been attached to me, which, by the way, I'll add, I have never given myself that title ever, except maybe on Facebook as sort of a joke. But it is true nonetheless that I fit that description. It's also true that my father was Native, and I do actually have Native heritage. Nobody cares about that though, right? They're like, okay, well, who told you you were a shaman? And I'm like, you guys did. People did. I never claimed that. I never said it, but people started calling me that. And I did learn from shamanic teachers, and I do use shamanic practices in my in what I'll call my ministry, right, and my healing. But those were all things that were forced upon me practically. I like to describe it that way because I never went seeking it. I never went seeking to learn shamanic practices. I never went seeking shamanic teachers. I never went seeking initiation into this. And I never went seeking to actually do this healing. But every step of the way, life was like, push, there you go. Now you're doing this. And I'm like, okay, I trust God. I trust my soul. I trust my allies of love and light and guidance to lead me. And when I ask them and they tell me that's what you're supposed to be doing, I'm like, I'm not doubting this anymore because I've come face to face with evil, and I've come face to face with darkness, and I've come face to face with not listening to them when they tell me what I should do next or what should be happening. And I've seen how poorly that goes and how much trouble I get into. And I've seen the grace and the love and the power and the miracles that happen when I go along with what they tell me to do and what I'm invited to do. So I accidentally became this, and I stumbled into all of these things, and I was pushed and forced into offering these services. And I'm so grateful, and I'm so honored, and I'm so humbled. And I call myself a shaman now because so many people have called me that, and it's just easier. When people say, "What are you?" I'll say, "If you want to call me a shaman, you can call me a shaman." It fits, it works, right? And there's going to be some people along the way who don't like that and think it's inappropriate, and I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I think we have a lot in common in the sense of like when I decided I didn't expect going through this training. I was needing help with a bad spiritual issue here in my home, and I reached out to my then mentor, who's since retired, and she taught me how to fight this thing and get it out of the house. She was an ordained exorcist, first woman actually to be ordained in the Catholic
Wow.
faith since like I think 1000.
How
I'm not
cool.
sure, but I'll have to go back and look at my notes. But she, when we were done, I guess she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and she said, "I think you should can at least take the spiritual warfare um, deliverance ministry course through uh, the organization, the Exorcist organization, and the Christian university that I'm associated with." And I felt that was necessary at the time, so I did. And I didn't even know when I completed that it was going to result in me being ordained. Since many, many years now, since that has happened, I'm actually thinking, I've been invited and actually thinking about going into the priesthood.
Mm.
Now, I know that's a big, big commitment. So I have to know in my heart, in my soul, that I'm going to be able to commit to this like I have committed to everything else. And you use the term tradition. I love that. I'm going to change. I always ask people, what religious belief system do you have in place? I'm going to change that to tradition.
Mm.
And so many people turn around to me and say nothing. That and they need help and they're reaching out to me for nothing. Give your any advice you might have for the person that doesn't know what they believe, but may be tormented or feeling that they're tormented by something, some perverted, low vibrational darkness that but they don't believe in anything else. I have a hard time helping these people, and I try to be patient and help them. And I hate cutting people loose. I'm embarrassed to admit how many cases I do cut loose because they, they don't want to believe in anything else, or that they need to ask for help from, but they are admitting that something is turning their life upside down and trying to kill them.
Mm.
What advice do you have for the people? Let's just say call them atheists.
Mm.
Um, who really need to find something. I don't care what name they want to attach to it, if they want to call it God or something else, but clearly, they have to at least, I try to get them to at least admit that there's a higher vibrational source of love and light that's watching over us that they need to somehow figure out a way to ask for help and get help from that, or it's going to get very ugly.
Mm.
What Does anything I said to you just now even make sense?
Oh yeah.
And okay,
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I would tell them they need to get over themselves. Like, this is an ego problem. If you are, experiencing something that's clearly paranormal and you know it and it feels bad to you, then you also know that there is good. Also, you're experiencing the negative and you can see it, but you can't acknowledge that there would then be the other side or the other polarity or the other vibration style. Like, that sounds like an ego problem to me, and that's fine. Like, that I would also cut that person loose and say, well, have fun then. And if you are suffering, right, the first time that I encountered a severe demonic attachment and attack, by the time I really understood what was going on, nothing could have stopped me from doing whatever my
wow,
my person at the time told me to do, because I was so desperate, because the torture is so severe and it's terrifying. So they're not suffering very much if they're not willing to admit that there is, clearly, it's just a logical truth. If there is the bad, there is the good. There is a polarity to everything in this universe. So if you're experiencing the bad, there is the good. So you really got to get over yourself. And for me, it's also like, people have this hang up for some reason with the word God, especially Jesus, right? For whatever reason, a lot of people have hang-ups about this. In my community, at least, of spiritual people in general, Christianity is like to be shunned and shamed and like stuck in a dark box somewhere and forgotten about. I don't know why exactly that is. It seems intentional to me. It's probably because of how powerful it is. Right? There's a lot of evil in the world, and they would like for us to not have our tools to protect ourselves from it. So a lot of people have this like, oh, you said God, like, I don't like God, I don't like Christianity. And I'm like, well, too bad for you. Again, fine, go suffer then, or whatever, right? I don't only use the ascended beings or spirits of love and life that are associated with Christianity, but I do call on them. Jesus is one of my favorite energies in the universe. Like, I love, how do you not love Jesus? Like, that's crazy to me. But I also know the power of Jesus, you know. And again, when I confronted my own demonic, the first demonic attachment and attack that I experienced, when I found help, they told me you can pray to Jesus and it will stop. And I did, and they were right. And as soon as I asked Jesus into my heart, head to toe, I felt peace. So I know that if you reach out and you ask and you're genuine and you invite that into your heart, period, it's over. That doesn't mean the demon necessarily is gone. I still had to take more steps to get it out of and detached and released and away from me and my home. That's another story. But you yourself, protect. Like, it's flawless. So I just would say get over yourself. Get over yourself and ask for help.
Yeah, I'm still years later. I'm still trying to get over the fact that I can't help everybody,
Yeah,
and and
it's true.
you got to hit me over the head, knock me on, drag me out of a place sometimes, or
Well,
I
you're so
until
loving.
I'll leave because I'm gonna try
Yeah,
to help.
you're so loving, and
Um,
you know just how dark the darkness is, so it makes sense. But those people, that's their choice. They have free will, unfortunately.
they go through, and what really bothers me is they go through they ride this roller coaster where there's moments of clarity where they're able to at least reach out to me and ask for help and listen to me. Then they go down that dip, and now they're under the oppression. And I know that what they're saying to me, some of the ugly, defensive, attacky things that they're saying to me is not really them. They're being
Right.
influenced. So I think that's probably why I have a hard time cutting them loose, and then why it hurts so much when I actually do. But yeah, and a lot of people think, okay, the person who has no religious belief system in place, who's an alcoholic, a drug addict, a prostitute, or a stripper, or a murderer, that those are the only people under attack. I find people like you and I are as much or even more so under attack all the time because of our belief system
And
from
because
from these things.
Yeah, and because of how many people we help get free from it, we're a source. We're a source node, and so if they can turn off that node, there's that much less light flowing in for everyone else to grab onto and get out of the darkness.
I try to tell people all the time, be careful what you say also, because you never know what's floating around listening. And you know what bothers me more than anything, and I don't try not to get angry or judgmental, but when I hear somebody say I would, okay, it's fine. I'm not preachy. I don't get. You're not going to catch me on the street corner on a box with a sign that says "Repent now, the end is near," and hitting people over the head with a Bible. But if you don't believe in what I believe in, that's cool. So cool. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to pray for you. But I hate it when I hate to use that word. When I hear people say, I would rather rule in hell than serve in heaven.
Wow, that seems like
Oh
a
my
weird place
gosh.
to be. But
When I hear people say that, I'm like, you don't even know what you just said.
I think they're in this mentality, though, again, that's so immature, it's so childish, and it's so egotistical and egocentric. When we were young, we had this mentality where we're like, ooh, look at my power, right? You see toddlers do this. They're like, haha, and they throw something on the ground and they look at you. Because they know, like, I threw that on the ground and now you're going to react. You're going to pick it up. You're going to, like, moan or whatever. And, like, I did that, right? And we still have this mentality like it's time to grow up. It's not just about rebellion and shock and attention. And these people, I wonder, have you ever encountered actual evil? And I think evil is sneaky like this sometimes, and it knows which people not to truly show itself to because they are delusional enough to let themselves stay in this immaturity until they die and then see finally what they actually were assisting in this plane instead of what's good, true, and beautiful, or what I call God or source or heaven. If you see one time, even a truly evil person who is actually inhabited by demonic energy, you would not say things like that. When you have to actually feel it and see it, you would not play around with those ideas anymore. You would understand exactly what evil actually is. So it is just immaturity and it's sad. And I hope that those people find wisdom and get out of that little pit they've dug for themselves. I think it's a dangerous place to be.
Yes, and right near the end of what you were saying, I got just felt like I was in a meat locker here. I lived in a haunted house, and I looked over at my screen here, and probably right about there, hanging from my ceiling, I have a beautiful dream catcher that was made for me by a chief. And there's no fans on in here. I have the vent turned off, no AC or heat running, and that never moves. But when it does move, I know spirit is present. And I had glanced up, and I think it's moving.
Mm-hmm.
Is it moving a little bit? Can you see better than me?
I
Yeah,
can't.
it's moving a little bit. Anyway, so whatever was here watching the show or listening totally agrees with what you're saying. I know I said at the beginning of the show, before we went live, that if I ask you anything that you're uncomfortable talking about, all you have to do is say, Rev, I'd rather move on off that topic. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't ask. Um, because trust me, I've helped priests, I've helped reverends, I've helped people, holy people that are being attacked, are under attack. Do you care, or do you not want to even go there and talk about your experience of how you found yourself under attack from those types of things?
Oh yeah. I like to share this story because I like for people to know. It is a little scary for a lot of people, so, for the faint of heart, this isn't the story for you. But I like to share it because I like to illustrate just how easy it is, first of all, to call in the darkness and invite it into your life, and also how I won't say easy, but it is almost equally as easy to call in the light and to release that. It takes some bravery, and it takes some know-how, and it takes some belief and faith. But they're both possible. So basically, the essence of what happened is I was very young. I was about 14, and I went to a clean and sober girls sleepover, and which shows you that I had been doing drugs before this.
Me too.
And
Everybody
yeah,
knows used to be a raging alcoholic and drug addict for many
yes,
years.
yeah, and a lot of us, I think, are, and there may be a reason for that too. I think we have to dive deep into the darkness so that we can come back out and go, "That's what I'm up against." um, So I was at this party, and this girl was doing tarot reading and had never really had encounters with tarot before. I didn't understand anything about it. Was watching her do it. Finally, everyone had gotten a reading but me, so it was my turn. So I did the reading. And when I did the reading, I had this really intense reading, first of all, that was all reversed, and it was all major arcana. And I still read tarot to this day, despite this story. But that reading was a very highly impossible. It's almost miraculous in itself that would be the reading. If anyone knows anything about tarot, to get all major arcana in a 10-card reading and to have them all be reversed, both are extremely unlikely. And to have them both in one reading is practically impossible. So she was freaking out by the end of this reading, and everything felt really dark and bad to me, and I had no idea I just thought this was a game. It was just so weird to me that she was so upset about it. But I was like, well, that was weird. Apparently I'm really weird, and my reading was weird. Like, life is weird. But I was also intrigued, and I went and I soon after that bought myself a tarot deck, and I started doing readings. And I started doing readings exactly how she showed me to do readings. Which I'll just, ruin the surprise now. The way that she did it and the way that I then started doing it was, for each reading, I would invite a spirit to guide the reading. That is not a good thing to ever do, ever. It is not good to invite a spirit to do anything with you, period. So don't do that, anybody. But I didn't know that, so I unintentionally in that moment invited a demon into my life. And as I started giving readings to people, this demon, unbeknownst to me, helped me be so good at it. I was so good at tarot reading. I could tell people exactly what was going on in their life and exactly what was going to happen next, and it was right 100% of the time. It was blowing people's minds. People were like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, this is just a weird game I do. I just found this game, and now I do it, and it's just really weird. Like, so I kept doing those readings. I started getting sleep paralysis. Like that person who wrote into you is experiencing. I did not connect the two things. I then started having poltergeist activity. I did not notice. I noticed the things happening, but I dismissed them as, I was very logical. I was very much materialist. I was basically an atheist as well. And so I was just oh, there's like a temperature differential, or the wind came in through that open window over there and it just blew this really heavy thing off the table and in front of me. And, that's all these different things were happening. And I just kept like, oh, it just must be whatever. The world is a weird place. And finally, I couldn't ignore it anymore when I was sitting one night at my computer and I was playing Minesweeper, and my dog was sleeping under the table at my feet, and I felt something behind me. I was alone in my house, my mom's house, and I felt somebody watching me, and it was a strong, intense feeling. No one was there. And I was like, well, that's really weird. I must be a little bit off or something. I'm not high, but this is weird. And clearly I'm just, whatever. I don't know, making things up. Then it got really, really cold. And I was like, brr, like, how did it get that cold in here? Like, this is so weird. And I was like, I don't know, just keep playing Minesweeper. Like, everything's going to be fine. Then my dog wakes up from his sleep, and he never in my entire over a decade of having this dog, not once did he ever growl at a single thing, period. Gets up from a dead sleep, looks exactly where I'm feeling like I'm being watched from, and starts growling at it with his hackles up.
Wow.
So that's when I like snapped and broke, and I was like, something is here. Like, my dog does not growl, and I already felt it. It got cold, like things are weird. So I ran into my bedroom and I hid under the covers. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, is there such thing as ghosts? Do we have a ghost in this house? Like, because I can't explain what's happening. And my logical, rational, atheist sort of mind is not coming up with any answers. But I eventually fall asleep and life goes on. Within a night or two, though, of that moment, I started having, or I had sleep paralysis again. This is like the 100th time I'd had sleep paralysis. Every other time I just wake up, your eyes are closed, but you're awake and you can't move. And it's just really could be very scary. But I had learned a mantra when I went to a sweat lodge with, and had some shamanic guidance, and didn't even notice how much it helped me, but they gave me a mantra to say. So I had this mantra about like being safe and everything was okay. And so I was doing that, but I realized for the first time out of all the hundreds of times I had had sleep paralysis over the past year or more since I had started doing the tarot readings, that I could see, and I could see everything. I could see my whole room. And I was like, but my eyes aren't open. And I was really confused by this. This was the first time I had ever gone out of body. I didn't know it, though.
Did you see you?
I didn't yet, because I stayed in my body, even though I was out of body, if that makes sense. I didn't leave the physical place where my body was. But I could see everything just like you can in an out-of-body experience. And I, other times, have left my body since then. But I was just kind of stuck there, and I was just watching everything, and I was very confused about what was even happening. I didn't understand how I could see through my eyes being closed. And then I felt that same feeling of the thing that had been feeling like it was watching me. And I was like, oh no, that's not good, because I can't move and I can't do anything if it's going to come towards me. And then I saw it, because again, I'm seeing now through my other eyes, my inner eyes, not my real eyes, right? So you can see anything in that space that you can't see physically necessarily in this dimension, right? With our eyes open. Yeah. So that night when my dog had growled, I didn't see anything. But here in this sleep paralysis episode, with my inner eyes open, being able to see everything, I saw it come through the wall into my room. And it was just a black mass of darkness. It was just like a cloud of condensed dark smoke or something. It was very, very frightening, and I was terrified. I heard my dog scratching at the door too, and I started thinking about all the things that had been moving around the house, all the weird stuff that had been happening, and I finally put it all together. I was like, this sleep paralysis has been happening this whole time. Things have been moving, and now there's this thing coming into my room. Like, this is all connected. And I was like, ghosts are real. So this is my first thought, but I'm also like, I don't like it. This feels bad. That thing feels bad. It felt
you would have been lucky at that time if it was just a ghost.
I would have been very lucky if it was just a ghost.
Yeah.
So, but it liked that I thought it was just a ghost. That was a good thing to it. So it knows what you're thinking. It knew what I was thinking. And it morphed into the shape of like a little girl. And it was glowing yellow, like glowing light, like kind of how you might see a ghost in a TV show or something, right? And it was just a little child. And I was like, oh, it is a ghost. And it's a little girl ghost. And she just needs help, probably. Like, I guess heaven is real, or, after death is real, and she needs help going somewhere. And I'm like the chosen to help the ghosts go to heaven. Like, so it was a combination of disarming me by making me feel, oh, it's just a little girl, and then also this ego thing of like, you're special, you can help ghosts go to heaven. And it did those things on purpose. This is an intelligent, crafty little thing. So I'm thinking that as it's turning into this little girl shape and coming closer this whole time. And then a very clear voice in my head interrupted my thought patterns and said, that's just what it wants you to think. And it heard that, and I heard that, and I knew that that voice was true. I just felt, I knew that that was the truth, that this thing was deceiving me and it just wanted me. And there's only one reason something would deceive me, and it's if it's going to attack me or harm me in some way. So this is all in like microseconds happening in my mind. And it also knows now that I have heard this voice and that I believe it and now see through its guise. And so it hears this and starts leaping towards me. As I hear this, I go, I don't have a defense against. I don't even know what this is. And so I say, against my better atheist judgment, dear God, help me. And dear God did help me. Anybody can call out to God for help. You don't have to be a Christian or of any other religion to do so. And God doesn't care what symbols and what things and whatever. God just loves you. So I asked God for help, and God put up a shield. I saw it appear, actually, because again, in that space, I can see things anybody can that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise. When I said, dear God, help me, as soon as I started saying dear, like before you have asked, I've answered. That is true. This shield appeared. It was like a silvery, see-through, sort of shimmering, just force field or something. Just appeared right in front of me right before this thing hit. I don't know what would have happened if it would have hit without that shield. I don't want to know what would have happened if it would have struck me without that shield. I don't have any interest in that at all. I know it's not good. But when it hit that, it was very, very angry. And I heard the worst sound I've ever heard in my life. Again, it's in that other dimension. It's not even a real sound, but it's like everything negative you can imagine hearing all crushed into one noise that was screaming at me because it was so angry that I had escaped. This is years in the making, right? It had been crafting this moment. Like it had been getting me, like plying me, finding out what my ego would respond to, and all of that for that whole time. And at the last moment, I was saved, and it was not happy about that. So I finally, as you do in sleep paralysis, was able to like wiggle a pinky or whatever, and I could finally move. And I got up and I ran into my mom's bed and I hid under her blankets. And though
was your mom there?
She was, but she was not. She didn't wake up. She just was like, "Oh, whatever, you weirdo," and went back to sleep.
Did you ever share this with your mom?
No, I didn't want to terrify her, and I also knew that she wouldn't have anything for it. She would either be so terrified and just dismiss it, or think I was insane and put me in like an institution or something, right? Which is what I thought actually in that moment. I was like, I went crazy. Like this is what psychosis is. Like this is delusion, and this is going to be the rest of my life now. They're going to medicate me. Like that's all there is to it. But some things like kept tickling in my brain. Like my dog saw this thing twice now, right? So my dog wouldn't be responding to my delusion. So
forgive me for interrupting you here. And when I'm not doing this, I'm a vet tech. So I'm an animal lover. How's the, and this is a long time ago. Maybe your dog's in heaven now, but
yes.
A lot of cases like this that I work, and your story is like giving me the incredible goosebumps and chicken skin. And I know the camera won't be able to pick it up, but I always, I don't like to poke the bear. I don't believe in religious provocation. I know if I go there and there's the demonic is there, they're already going to be provoked that I'm there. I always make sure they get the animals and the children out of the home because they always go after them and target them. What happened to the dog?
The dog was fine. The dog was protection. Okay. That dog was actually, I think, sent by God to help me protect me too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But no, he was fine. He was just worried about me. He knew that this thing was after me, and he knew when it was there, and he didn't like it either. So I actually did not sleep that night. I spent the night thinking I was insane, especially because for the rest of the night I had just nothing but nonstop like movies playing in my brain of the worst and most horrendous torture and awful things that you could ever imagine. I had never imagined them before, and I've never imagined them since. I've never seen a movie that even comes close. Like, these things were not coming from me, and they were torturing me all night long with this constant. And I was so distraught and so tired in the morning and so terrified. I knew that God had protected me, you know, and so I thought, well, I'm either insane or I'm protected or both, but like I have to go to school. So I went to school in the morning. So I drove to school, and when the story started, I was about 14. I was 16 when it ended. I got to school, I got out of my car, and one of my friends saw me, and their instant reaction was like, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And I was like, nothing is wrong. But it was scaring me already. Like, why is this person saying this? They've seen me hungover. They've seen me like just so like in so much different levels of chaos from drugs and alcohol and stuff, and they've never acted like that in all of those times. So like, why are they saying this to me? The next person I see, same thing. Whoa, what happened to you? Did your dog die? I'm like, no, nothing happened. Like, and so then it's starting to really bother me even more. So I'm like, my dog reacted to this thing. Now these people, my friends, are reacting to something. So I'm not crazy actually. Something is happening to me and I don't understand it. So I called my friends' parents, who are very fundamentalist Christians and who had previously warned me that doing tarot may invite the demons. And I'm like, oh, they're just really Christian. Like, it's just an old fashioned idea. But now I was like, maybe they're right. Maybe there are demons and maybe something like that is going on. At the very least, they're the only people who will probably be able to tell me what's happening without sending me to a psychiatrist first. So I called them and I asked them if I could come over, and they said yes. And I got there and I told them what had happened the night before. And they were like, "Oh yeah, you're under demonic attack." Like, just like no compunction, just like, "Yep, that's what's happening." And I was like, "Well, okay, so what do we do about it?" And this is what I was referring to either earlier. No matter what they would have told me at that moment, I probably would have done it. And thank God what they told me was to pray to invite Jesus into my heart, because then that's what I did, because I was like, anything to stop this. Like, I'm not going through that again. I'm not gonna let this demonic thing just float around my room and like trap me in my body when I'm sleeping and like try to attack me and hurt my dog or what. Like, none of this. We're not doing this anymore. So yes, let's do this. How do we do this? And they're like, just repeat after us. Just do this prayer and just mean it with all your heart. And okay. So I pray, and again, as soon as I said the words Jesus come into my heart, head to toe, full peace. And it's a peace that I can't even describe to this day. I didn't know I didn't have peace. But in that moment, I understood just how much hell I had instead of peace, because the peace was so deep and so secure. And I started bawling and crying for just relief and joy. And I was like, I don't understand what just happened, because I didn't believe yesterday in demons and that Jesus could save you and that all these things, those were not real things to me the 2 days before or the day before. And in that moment, all of it was secured forever. I can't doubt any of that. That happened, right? So that's how I was initiated into the understanding of evil is real, demons are real. You invite them in, they're going to come in, and you invite Jesus in, he's also going to come in. So you can choose what you will.
I want to tell you this because I I'm gonna try not to get emotional over here because Jesus is a big friend of mine too.
Hmm.
But there's a reason. Something happened here right before the show, and it had something to do with you and Jesus and your story. I was gifted an antique crucifix
Hmm.
uh, a little while ago, and I got it from a place where I never received anything from this location before, but and I never have it on this desk. Something before I sat down here to do this interview with you told me to put this on my desk, and then for some reason I used it to bless before I said a prayer or lit a candle or something.
Hmm.
But this cross is actually from Nazareth.
Wow.
Was made by hand from olive tree wood, olive trees grown in Nazareth,
How beautiful.
um, by a very holy person there,
Hmm.
and that's Jesus's hometown.
Yeah.
I never receive anything from Nazareth. Bethlehem, Israel, but never Nazareth. And so there was a reason why. Uh, Something told me to put that here today and show you, and now I know why. So I'm going to take a moment here to apologize to everybody that I didn't get to none of their questions, and I'm sure they're like me, like, who cares about the questions? That story was off the charts phenomenal. And it gave me an excuse to ask you back so I can ask you those questions then. Did you have
Sure.
fun when you come back?
Oh, absolutely.
My gosh, I'm telling you, Lindsay, that story, I can't wait. My wife will be waiting for me. She gets home right about the time I finish the Friday shows. She'll be waiting in there for me. She's also a Stevens minister through the Lutheran Church. I can't wait to tell her your story. That is an incredible, incredible story. Before we're done, please make sure everybody knows everything you want them to know about you. I want to make sure they also know you have written some phenomenal books.
Thank
Is
you.
that story in any of those books?
It's not. I've never written my own story out. There's a lot to it. It would be an interesting
Oh
book.
my gosh, yes, absolutely. I'm going to tell you that you, for what it's worth, that you should. But
I
anything
probably
else you
should.
want to tell people about how they can find you, your show, all of that?
Yeah, thank you so much. I love sharing that story because I love for people to understand just how powerful Jesus, God, and your own heart and soul are, especially against the forces of evil that are very, very real. But I love to share all of my stories and all of my spiritual guidance, which really is just God coming through me. That's my goal every day. And every time I do a show, and every time I do a healing with people, or anytime I do a tarot reading, which I now do not invoking random spirits, but only invoking God. Uh, and so I love being able to be that channel for the goodness and the good stuff to come through, because that's what each of us are, right? Is either a channel for this polarity or this polarity, and you get to choose. That's free will. So which one do you want to be aligned with? That's your choice. So that's what I love to do. Again, you can find the show on rockfin.com/rogueways is where I get all my uncensored material. YouTube, as you said, likes to censor some things, so I don't have everything there, but I have some stuff there on the channel Rogue Ways. I'm on every podcast app if you just like to listen. I do have those books. I have a couple fictional novels. I also have some inspirational, good, uplifting, beautiful oracle channeled writings, as well as some spiritual guidance sort of books that are also channeled through. And then if you want some spiritual services, if you want to do a tarot reading, or if you want to do a sound healing, or I also do ceremony for assisting in the detachment of negative entities and energies, or healing some of those old traumas that we carry around with us, both are very helpful in the fight against the darkness. If you're interested in that, or I also just do guidance sessions and coaching and talk sessions. So if you just will need to talk some things out, get some advice, or some coaching, you can do that. Or if the spiritual guidance sounds nice to you, that's a nice way to get messages directly from your allies and guides through to you. So any of those things are all available on rogueways.org, and a ton of other stuff. You go check it out. There's a lot there.
Absolutely. I love you, sister. You're on the
I love you
prayer
too.
list.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you back, I promise. Have a Thank you so much. Have a wonderful remainder of your day and your weekend, and I will talk to you soon, okay?
You too. Thank you so much.
We'll see you later. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say. Guys, keep Zach in your prayers that he gets to feeling better. He's really under the weather today. I'm concerned about him. On that note, thank you to my co producers, Zach Clayton, Adrian Hart, Things Network, Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment, Skeleton Key Network, Pact, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel, and new, I don't know exactly when, but I'm supposed to be on DNTV sometime soon here. So when that happens, thank you to them. Um, don't forget Monday, this coming Monday, my first Monday night show of this show. I'm going to 2 days a week. You're going to love my guest Monday night. Different time though, 5 p.m. Pacific, Mondays. 2 p.m. Pacific Fridays, 5 p.m. Pacific Mondays. My guest is the creator of ghosthuntingtheories.com, the blog, author, psychic, Sharon Day. You're going to love her. Um, I don't know what else to say to you guys other than thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I don't have a show without all of you. God bless you all. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Danny. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. Peace.